What's up, guys? Passenger Alex here, and today I'm at the Kennedy Space Center. I'm going to be taking you guys on the Kennedy Space Center Explore Tour, getting up close to the rocket launches, rocket launch pads. So come along and enjoy the trip. Coming over the bridge here with the VAB seen in the distance. As we approach the Kennedy Space Center gate, you could see the space shuttle, as well as the giant Kennedy Space Center logo. With Blue Origin across the street, they also have an ad that says you can send a postcard to space. That would be really cool. Welcome to the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. As you can see the crawler wheels, if you will, as we enter. A giant countdown clock here in the front, but I don't think it's actually going. Tickets if you need them. The line was actually a lot longer today than I've seen it. Wow. And I've been about 3 times this summer. And it was pretty crazy. But once we got in, it wasn't as busy. Must be pretty spaced out in here. As you enter the rocket garden, the beautiful music welcomes you inside the gates. With a map of an entire space complex, as well as all the different rocket launch pads. Today on the tour, we are going to be going through the NASA side of the launch pads, so 39A and 39B, and the rest are leased by the ULA and also SpaceX and other private companies. But before we could do the tour, we had about an hour to kill. Food truck over here. So come this way past the NASA gift shop. Bus tour entrance. First stop, Atlantis. And then we're taking the bus tour. A 2-hour bus tour, KSC Explorer Tour.
This is a real spacecraft. It is not a model. It is not a replica. This vehicle has been to space and back. Third Atlantis commemorative coin. Okay, and also get to touch a shuttle tile material, the original material of the shuttle.
After seeing parts of the amazing shuttle facility here, it was time to do the shuttle experience, which was quite incredible, but a little intense to take a phone on. So, you won't see any footage from this one. The real NASA van that the original, the Apollo astronauts, I believe, rode on to the rocket. Entering the Explorer Tour entrance, it's not quite separated the way that it should be, and it was a little confusing. We had to talk to the gentleman standing there and go under the rope to the other side here, and basically you get a photo and then you show another person, as you see the sign here, your tickets. But I guess they weren't really scanning your tickets, even though we really had tickets. They didn't scan them in person, so they were like oversold on the tour. Therefore they had to like make more seats for people. So in the future I think they could do a little better job at, watching everyone's tickets and making sure that everyone gets on. Boarding our spacecraft here, we took to the skies into outer space to see further extraterrestrials as we journey through space and time.
It's run by SpaceX. Everybody know what SpaceX is? Okay, yeah, it's been in the news a lot. They have a place over there called Hangar X, and this is where the main thing that they do over there now is to refurbish the Falcon 9 first stages and the Falcon Heavy boosters and get them ready for the next launch. So if you look down Roberts Road here, you'll be able to look into the yard a little bit. Now right now they're constructing, looks like industrial looking pieces of metal there. Those are going to be a new launch tower that's a or 40. Now in the backyard here you see another set of industrial structures there. That's going to be for the new rocket they're developing out in South Texas called Starship. It's in there, right? All right, so you can see it over there. Now you can see the side of the VAB there has some places that are open. Those are part of two of the high bays. There's two on this side, there's two on the other side. They are the world's tallest doors at over 45 stories tall. The building itself is considered a skyscraper because it's over 52 stories tall. Now those panels are open because they can be moved individually. Sometimes they use it for ventilation, you can see right there. Now these move right over on the other side up here, up ahead on the right side of the bus is our press site area. And then over where the American flag is, you see high bays. You can see the other two on this side. The one on the right is open at the bottom all the way through. You can kind of get a glimpse inside the high bay there. And we're about to make a little turn here under what we call Launcher Road. We're going to get to see, you'll be able to look all the way inside those high bays. Now the one that's to the left there has a mobile launch platform in there. You can kind of just see part of it, right?
I hope you guys are enjoying this video so far as we do the KSC Explore Tour. Much more to come here as we see more rocket pads and even the VAB up close.
All right, so now you can see a better look at the mobile launcher for Artemis. You see it's up off the ground there. We'll get a better look as we go to special reason. Now, where the crane is right up here, we're getting ready to build another mobile launcher, a woman and a person of color. So this next mission to the moon will be very diverse, and that will be the standard National Space Station. We got 50 round. And the reason why we do that is so we have a special vehicle that will go underneath it, hydraulically lift it up, and move it around various places here at Kennedy Space.
So here is the beautiful Artemis 2 launch pad and the one that launched Artemis 1 as well.
All right, there we go. So this is a good time to take some pictures while the bus isn't moving. Now, these were built in the 60s for the Apollo, spread out the weight. The reason why we know they were built in the 60s is because they have 8 tracks. Oh, you got it. All right, now this device only moves in certain ways. So they have 2 crew cabs. You see the one to the right there that says CT2 on it, Hans and Franz, by the engineers that work with them, because they are the world's champion weightlifters. Anybody ever seen Saturday Night Live? Back in the day, they did some sketches, millions and millions of pounds. And so they built this road and started digging down 7 feet deep to build the foundations layer by layer. And then they put this river rock on the top into the road, giving them a lot of traction. So that's the way it worked. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the crawlers as we come back toward the VAB. A mobile launcher that was used during the Apollo program and a mobile launch platform that was used during the shuttle program. Now, a mobile launcher means that it has a tower that moves along with the mobile launch platform.
We then took a stop at the observation gantry. This is also a spot that you can purchase tickets online to watch certain launches that are off the southern side. And not the NASA pads, but basically the other SpaceX pads and the ULA pads. Once we were up top, it provided for beautiful views of launch pad 39B as well as 39A. And you could see kind of what's going down here with the new Starship pad as well. Really awesome. And SpaceX here. And that's where they do all the Falcon 9s as well. Looking off to our right here on the southern side, you can see the other launch pads that are used as military, SpaceX, and other ones. The beautiful famous crawler away here from the VAB. Unfortunately, we didn't see anything going down it today, but other tours do catch stuff going down.
Apollo mission. One of them, Apollo 1, did not leave. That was the only astronauts we launched. lost during the Apollo program. But they did one more, I believe it was an uncrewed test flight from there. And then by that time, Kennedy Space Center was done, and we started doing the rest of the launches from over here. But the military has several. Very shortly, all we're going to be waiting for at that point is the final okay from the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA. And so that's a little snag because there was a lawsuit involved. Hopefully get all that ironed out. And once the Starship and the Super Heavy booster, they get the Starship into orbit, it will be the most powerful rocket. Cool the way they figured this out. So once the Starship, or once the Super Heavy is on there, then they'll reach over, they'll bring over the Starship, the second stage, pick it up, go all the way to the top, and stack it on top of the Super Heavy booster. And then at that point, they'll fuel it with a special propellant. Anybody happen to know what that propellant is? It will come right back to the launch tower. And it's going to get caught in midair by the chopstick arms. They'll catch it and then move it back on top of the orbital launch mount. Now, why they call it chopstick arms? Anybody ever seen the movie? Those fives left. They won't be using them anymore because they use a rocket engine that we don't buy anymore. Anybody know what that is? After midnight tonight. Very good. Now, if you want to see it, you can go over to Titusville, a place called.
Inside the observation gantry, it kind of looked like a lighthouse with an elevator inside. Before we knew it, we were back on the bus, on to the next stop. And this took us even closer to launch pad 39A, 39B, and the Starship pad with the SpaceX building next to it. And stay tuned for a SpaceX booster laying outside next to the building.
Elon wanted one here. That is a Falcon 9 stage. They may have moved it already. I wouldn't be surprised to leave something like that out in the open for very long. On it. All right, so here is Mechazilla, and the orbital launch mount still under construction. You can see the pillars that are leaning inward just a little bit. This kind of thing where it goes vertical. And I am really looking forward to see them stacking a Starship Super Heavy right over there. That's going to be really cool.
Yeah. I read the sign.
All right. Here we go. So we got a nice view right here from this angle of pad 39A. It's $20,000. There are people that have worked here that have gotten fired because they broke that rule. So they're very serious about that. Now there are three.
Wow.
He's starting to get scared.
So we are now at our next stop here, and this is where the media films from the different launch pads, and also where they have a very large camera set up here. Also sandbags because the blast from the rocket would sometimes knock it over. Seen here from 39A and B.
So the Saturn program, the superstition, we had to go through the other side and inside the capsule where Tom Stafford shook hands with the commander of the Cosmonaut mission.
The Saturn V observation building in the distance here. So this device here tests for static electricity in the air, basically to see if there's storms coming and if it's safe to launch.
Recognized the pattern. He knew what it was. He also knew what to do about it. So he told the launch director to tell Capcom, which is Capsule Communicator. And here we are at pad 39B. You can see that ramp just like 39A has, an open space underneath. And the opposite side of the ramp is where the flame trench is there. So this is set up for the Artemis program. So that mobile launch of the launch pad, and sometime very soon they're going to be bringing it over here to do some safety tests with that mobile launcher. The SLS for Artemis 1 was sitting on the pad. There was a storm that came by, and the main bolt of lightning hit one of the arresters. But one of the part of it, though, the building the way it is, it could.
We are now heading to the VAB to take photos out front and see some awesome pieces of space history.
And so that is essentially our moon rocket. But Artemis is also going to be the moon. It's called Gateway. It's in design right now. And it's going to be an international project, just like the ISS is. We've got several different countries, including JAXA, the Japanese program from Pad 39A. So when SpaceX took that gantry off to build their own, we brought it over here. You can walk all the way through it and walk through the Artemis program. It's going to fit on top of the Orion capsule like a hat. And if something were to go wrong, that rocket would fire. It's a solid rocket motor, so very reliable. And that would fire and lift just the Orion capsule away from the rest of the rocket, put it over the Atlantic Ocean where they would be able to land there safely. Now, we had something very similar during the Apollo program, but we never had to use it. Hopefully, we'll never have to use it during the Artemis program.
So I am now about to walk across what all the astronauts walked across to the shuttle program. Very famous.
Wow, this is amazing.
Very fortunate to walk on this. A lot of history here. Just imagine this, hundreds of feet up in the sky. Very cool.
Holy cow.
The orbiter access arm. Here it is from the outside angle, as well as the top part of the SLS moon rocket that they're currently doing. Artemis 2 will be going next, and then Artemis 3. Here is my fiance comparing the giant stars on the VAB. On the ground here you can see how large they are. Pretty big American flag. Even our tour guide decided to join in on the fun. And now back on the bus we go to the Saturn V Center.
Like something like a Starlink launch during park hours, it's first come, first serve. You can come out here to the Apollo Saturn V Center, claim a seat, and you can watch a launch for no extra charge.
The journey starts here. By going behind the gates at Kennedy Space Center today, we each took our own small step toward the future of space exploration by learning and being inspired.
So, just for future reference, when you do take this tour, it does end at the Saturn V Center. You don't have to go out and get off at the Saturn V Center. We decided to stay on and head back to the main area here. But other than that, that was the full tour of the KSC Explore Tour. If you do multiple days here like we did, you can see the Saturn V Center as well. It's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend doing it. Honestly, that's one of the things I highly recommend doing here is the Saturn V Center, as well as the shuttle experience. Honestly, everything here is pretty great. I'd like to thank you guys again for joining me today on this KSC Explore Tour, and we'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Please subscribe and leave a like for more. That really helps me out, and I can provide more content for you guys in the near future. Also, this is the very famous 7-Eleven gas station that a lot of rocket scientists will be stopping at after their day at work. Thank you, and we'll see you guys in the next video.